today let's understand how a sponge works and how exactly it's related to learning. I'm pretty sure each one of you would have played with a sponge right from your childhood, right? But for a different purpose. Maybe to clean a car or clean your utensils, whatever it can be. Let's understand how exactly it happens. Let's say usually you dip sponge in a water, it just absorbs a lot of water, and then once you squeeze in, it just dissolves all of it, and then you can start using it for whatever purpose you intend to. For today, what we'll understand is how exactly sponge effect can be related to learn in a much more smarter and effective way. Without any further ado, let's get into the topic. Hello everyone, this is Kapil Reddy, founder and CEO of Zooperly. Today the topic we're going to discuss is the sponge effect that will actually help you learn more efficiently and in a much smarter way. The basic mechanism of a sponge is it absorbs a lot of water or whatever it can be, and then it dissolves it so that you can start using it. And when it absorbs, it becomes very heavy and it's not usable to a great extent. And that's exactly how the human brain also works when it comes to learning. If you're constantly absorbing information, it becomes loaded. I think I've told enough times, right, that we are in this zone of information overload, and our primary brain is to process the information, not to store the information. The more you try to store, which is nothing but absorption, it will just have a very limited exposure to process the information. So everything becomes not very effective, and that's what we need to work around very effectively. So now getting back to how sponge effect is related to learning. So if you really want to learn something in a much more impactful way, for example, let's say you have a strong desire to work in the drone industry. Now you have a strong purpose. Maybe you want to make a career out of it, or you want to start a new company. For example, let's take Elon Musk's example, where because he wanted to build something in the rocket space, probably in 2001 or 3 around that time, he didn't know anything about rockets. But within 4 years, he knew every single detail about the rocket. And now you know how SpaceX is doing brilliantly well. Likewise, if you really want to learn something which has a strong purpose, you got to learn in a very effective way. Right now, unfortunately, we are all learning in a very passive way. For example, let's say you read an article, you think or you believe that you learned something, but most of it is something which will vanish within a day, and it's not very effective. So ideally what you do is you just have very crammed information or something which is in the back of your mind, but you cannot recall it, which is of no use, right? And you end up doing the same process or learning the same topic again and again. So let's avoid it. Let's eliminate that process. Why not learn more effectively? Especially anybody and everybody can be a self-learner in this age, which is the golden opportunity. But we are not doing it in a structured way. If you go to schools or colleges, we have everything structured. A curriculum is given, you have exams, so you have a structure in place. But when it comes to self-learning, everything is a blank sheet. There's nobody to monitor you. There's no accountability. There's no structure for it. But why not create a structure for your learning? Why not do things in a more effective way? And of course, that's exactly how Zooperly can help you when it comes to your self-learning from the internet, where we help you structure your thoughts, we'll help you organize your thoughts. So now let's get back to the topic, which is the sponge effect. So my point is, just try to understand, if let's say you want to get into the drone technology, as I told already, the first thing you got to do is focus and focus and focus. By that I mean, first gather all the resources that you want and do it very diligently with a lot of focus. Like learn something. Let's say you came across 10 articles, you came across 3 videos, 2 podcasts. Try to learn from them in a very focused manner. Have some study sessions or learning sessions so that you're breaking down the topic and trying to learn in a much more structured way. By focus, I mean literally you should be fully immersed into the topic. You shouldn't deviate or you shouldn't get distracted. Move away from all the notifications. Just let's say, for example, you put 2 hours of your time today. Make sure that is your focus time of 2 hours. In this 2 hours, just move away from your phone, distractions, or just tell everybody to just do not disturb you, so that you're completely in that zone of focus. In this way, try to do certain focus sessions and you'll be much more competitive or much more knowledgeable compared to how it was previously. And I keep saying knowledge begets knowledge. If you start learning more concepts around the same topic, it'll add up and you'll be much more faster in grasping things this time around because you've already known something. And that is how knowledge keeps building over time. So that is the first step which I spoke, which is about focused way of learning. Second thing, which probably doesn't come naturally to a lot of us, is writing. Yes, I will repeat it. Please start getting into a habit of writing anything that you want to learn or anything that you've already learned. The reason is writing helps you in two ways. One is, first you have learned something. If you compare it with the sponge effect, first you have absorbed all this information. Now it's time to dissolve it. You can do it in two ways. Either start writing or jotting it down so that you're doing it in your own style, or teach it to somebody, explain it to somebody so that they also know what you've learned. In this way, it will actually help you to learn more effectively. Unfortunately, given our education system, we all believe that if let's say we learn something, let's keep it to ourselves. But trust me, that's not effective at all. In fact, whatever you learn, if you actually explain it to somebody, you are the one who's going to benefit much more than the person out there. Because you already know something and you're trying to explain it to somebody. In this way, your structure of thought and clarity of thought is much more effective. So for that reason, do not hesitate to explain a topic to somebody. Now, coming back to writing notes, the reason why I'm stressing a lot on it is anything that you've learned, let's say from an article or a video, is the style of the author, his own understanding of the subject. But now that you've understood from multiple sources, you have your own thought, you have your own style. So by writing, ideally what you're doing is you're putting out thoughts in your own style, and that can be very effective. And also another thing with writing is it helps in two ways. One is, before writing, first you try to recollect all the information that you've collected. And once you start writing, there is a lot more focus on what you're writing. In this way, the brain is working in a much more activated state. So the learning happens at least 2x faster. And that is a huge advantage when it comes to writing. And please make it a habit of writing everything in one single place. Do not get into a habit of scattering all your learning in multiple apps. Again, that's where Zoopily definitely comes into your aid, where you know that Zoopily is your learning zone. This is your space for learning. So create a topic on whatever you want to learn about and jot down all your thoughts, notes, or collect all your resources in one single space. And then it will be much more easier for you to get back to it. And the best part is you can also schedule your sessions so that in this way you're learning in a much more consistent manner. And also you have the focus mode so that you're devoid of all the distractions and all you got to do is just focus on the topic. So this is the effect of writing. So I definitely urge each one of you to start practicing writing, which will only help you to expand your knowledge. And the third final step is surround yourself with experts. So let's say by now you're convinced that drone technology is something you are very interested in and you want to make a career out of it. The next best thing is getting mentored from the people who have already been there, done that. Because these are experts, right? Let's say they've got 20 years of experience or let's say 10 years of experience. Whatever it can be, you can definitely gain from their experience. But why would anybody pay attention to your request? Let's say you go to somebody who's experienced and you tell them like, okay, I want to learn about this. They wouldn't care, right? But once they know that, okay, you are knowledgeable yourself and you're also adding some value and you're trying to expand your knowledge. Once they grasp that, they'll be more than happy to help you. And this is again where this entire exercise, like first and second points, will help you. Because you've learned something in a very focused way and you've taken notes, you are much more knowledgeable in that particular field. So rather than going with a blank expression or a blank state of mind, you're going with a wealth of knowledge. And that can actually trigger the other person and he or she can actually help you. So this is all about the sponge effect. If you actually observe these 3 points, it's nothing but you're absorbing everything, you're dissolving everything that is required. In this way, you're actually learning in a much more effective way. You're learning in a much more smarter way. And the best part is you're offloading information which is not important to you or which is irrelevant to you. And because of it, you have more processing power in the brain, which is very important for your long-term memory retention. So that's it about a sponge effect. As I told, there is limited exposure on these topics and it's high time we need to spread the knowledge or awareness around these topics because the information overload will only get bigger and bigger and we need to find our own ways of learning. We need to have some consistent habits of learning so that we can actually learn from the noise. We need to cut the chaos and make sure we separate the signal from noise. For this to happen, you need to have these set of simple techniques. And of course, as I told, the whole goal of Zoopily is to build a learning companion for your knowledge expansion. And for that, we are promising you 3 things. One is we're giving you an all-in-one learning space that includes everything, capture everything in one place, write down notes, revise, have summary blocks so that it's much more easier for you to retain information for a longer time. Second thing is we'll help you get into a habit of everyday learning. Third thing is we'll pull you back into those learnings so that ideally you can finish one learning at a time in a much more focused and immersive way. So that's it for today. I hope you all have a good weekend and a great week ahead. Before going, please do like, share, comment on this video and do let us know your feedback so that we can actually improvise on what we are offering. Do let us know any other topics that you want us to cover. We'll be more than happy to do it. And the final thing, in case you haven't gotten already, please get on our VIP access today by signing up with your email, and you'll be able to access Zoopally very soon. Thank you so much. Signing off. Bye-bye.